Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Nurse Pauline RN. I will be uploading my videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Eastern Standard Time. The goal of my channel is to assist students to be successful in their fundamentals NCLEX examinations. I'm emphasizing the first exam, which consists of about 6 to 7 chapters, and this is the hardest exam. I wish you lots of luck. Today we will be talking about legal implications of nursing, and this is found in chapter 4. Before we get started, before any further ado, just hit your like button just below the video on your left, and please hit your subscribe button. That's your red button on the right, my right side, just below the videos. Guys, when we say subscribe, we're not asking you for a fee. Subscribe means that as soon as I upload a video, you will be notified immediately. Thank you. The first we have here is public law. In public law, the government is directly involved. Relationship between people and government is called civil law. Informed consent is a disclosure that the patient has been informed by the physician of the nature of the procedure, the risks involved, benefits and alternatives. The nurse protects the patient's rights. She is only a witness to the informed consent. The physician is responsible to inform the patient. Negligence is defined as performing an act that a reasonable, prudent person under the similar circumstance would have not done. Example, patient falling. This is an act of negligence in the hospitals or nursing homes. The next law we have here is statutory law. Statutory law must be in keeping with federal constitution and state constitution. Unintentional tort is negligence and malpractice tort. Common law is court-made law. A crime is a violation punishable by the state. Nurses are legally responsible for carrying out doctor's orders unless if that order would lead to injury. Fraud is a willful and purposeful misdemeanor that could cause or has caused loss or harm. RN is a witness only to informed consents. AHA stands for American Hospital Association, developed for the patient's Bill of Rights. The nurse's role is to have informed consent in the patient's chart, waiting for the doctor to come to the floor to inform the patients of their procedures. The Nursing Reform Act states that long-term care facilities residents have the right to be free from restraint imposed for convenience or discipline. Restraints are not for discipline or for the nurse's convenience. A physician assistant may not write doctor's orders in most of the states. A case management is kind of a charting documentation that tracks variances from the critical pathway. In pie charting, pie stands for P stands for problem, I stands for intervention, E stands for evaluation. Pie charting, P is for problem, I is for intervention, and E is for evaluation. Defamation of character is an intentional tort. Patient or parties make derogatory remarks. A whistleblowing nurse witnesses unsafe care has the duty to report it. A plaintiff is a person or government bringing a lawsuit against another. Litigation is the process of the lawsuit. Defendant is the one who is accused of a crime. An expert witness explains to the judge or jury what happened. A felony is a crime, punishable by imprisonment. Crimes of lesser offense than felony is punishable by fines. Crimes of lesser offense than felony is punishable by fines. A sentinel event is an unexpected occurrence involving death. Liability is legal responsibility for one's actions, includes responsibility for financial restitution of harm resulting from negligent acts. All patients should be assessed for falls. Fall is a negligence. Physician calls another physician to consult regarding a patient's care should be documented on or in the consultation sheet. Your ancillary staff has their own documentation sheets. The ancillary staffs are your PT, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, occupational therapists. Our laboratory report is an analysis of maybe blood tests, sputum tests that was sent to the lab for analysis. All these results are found in your laboratory report, either in the patient's charting or on the computer. Protocols are written plans that details nursing activities to be executed. Number 1, the use of the patient's chart or health record. The patient's chart is a legal document. It is used in court proceedings. Nursing students has access to patient's chart in healthcare setting. The patient's chart is used as a research and also as a data collection. On the topic of incidents report number 1, the report should be only observed, only objective. 2, do not admit liability. 3, do not provide unnecessary details. 4, list date and time and physician notified. 5, do not mention that incident report was completed in your nursing documenting report. Errors for inadequate charting are 1, incorrect time. 2, failing to record verbal orders from your physicians. 3, charting actions in advance to save time. 4, incorrect date. These are all errors for inadequate charting. The legal sources of standard of care the nurse uses to deliver health care. These legal sources, 1, are found in your policies and procedure manual, which is found on all nursing units. It's also found in your computers. Your legal services, your legal sources of standard of care is also your state nurse protection. It's also your State Nurse Practice Act. Your legal sources of standard of care nurses use to deliver safe health care is also your Joint Commission manual. It is also your American Nurses Association standard of practice. If a nurse is sued by a patient, 1, the plaintiff must prove that a breach in prevailing standard of care caused the injury. 2, the person filing the lawsuit has the burden of proof. Patient has a right to refuse blood transfusion, especially for religious reasons. Example, patients whose religion is Jehovah's Witness. 2, the patient has the right to refuse all care. If a patient has an advance directive on file, a living will is invoked only when the patient has a terminal condition or if a patient is in a vegetative state. All restraints need to be ordered by a physician. It is a criminal act to restrain a patient without a physician's order. A nurse taking or selling controlled substance, this is a crime. Let's talk a little about ethics today. Ethics means conduct, character, what society determines are values or norms. Values are personal belief. Morals are personal values. In ethics, nurses support health choices, privacy, respect patients, follow through on promises made. Nurses are patients' advocates. Nurses are accountable for their actions. Fidelity means fulfillment of a promise. Do not promise, I'll be back in 5 minutes, because you may exit the room and something happens on the outside. You're not able to keep your promise. The patient will be upset. In the case of ethical dilemma, there is a ethical committee in all healthcare hospitals to resolve dilemmas. The hospital has ethical committees to resolve ethical dilemmas. HIPPA stands for Insurance, Health Insurance, Portability, Accountability Act. This regulates confident in patients' information. Patients under influence of drugs are not eligible to sign informed consents. For example, you administered morphine or Dilaudid, any narcotics before signing. The patient is not eligible to sign under the influence of drugs. Patient with language barrier, patients who do not speak English, should be referred to a medical interpreter. The nurse orders a medical interpreter to the bedside to interpret care, especially when patient is going home. We need patients to be discharged safely. Medical interpretation should not be left to the family because they are not medical people. We have medical terminologies that needs to be explained accurately to the patients. Housekeepers and techs are not medical interpretation. Even if they speak the patient's language, we have to exercise safety. Physicians are the only one who provides information concerning informed consent. MHPA stands for Medical Health Parity. Mental health provides fairly, patient is treated, and fair price is given for treatment. MHPA, Mental Health Parity Act. This is to make sure mental health patients are treated fairly and their treatments are priced. PSDA stands for Patient Self-Determination Act. Patient has a right to refuse, patient has rights, patients has choices concerning their health care decisions. Patient has a right to leave the hospital without being discharged by a physician. They will sign the AMA form, leaving against medical advice. The physician should be notified. The patient should sign this form before he or she leaves the institution, and this form should be witnessed by a second registered nurse. If patient is unable to sign informed consent, a legal guardian should sign this form. Please hit your like button on the left just below this video, please. Please hit your subscribe button just below this video on my right. When you subscribe, we're not charging you a fee. When you subscribe, this means that you will be notified immediately as soon as I upload a video. On Thursdays, we'll be moving on to theoretical nursing. Please read in advance. I will be uploading my video Thursday afternoon. Please study. Please do your test taking skills. multiple choices, and I know you have very good nursing educators out there,